Hey, welcome back. This is episode 3, the final episode of The Knowing That Wouldn't Quit. And if you've been with me from the beginning, I just want to say thank you. This series has felt really personal to make, and I hope it's landed that way for you too. Now, a quick recap of where we've been. And if you want to catch up, the links are in the show notes. Episode 1 was about the instinct. That body level knowing that something has to change, what it is in human design, and why it's real. Episode 2 was about why your mind fights the instinct so hard, the open head and ajna centers, the decades of accumulated logic, and why the mental noise gets so loud right when the instinct is trying to get clearest. Today is the one I've been building toward. Because knowing something and actually moving on it are two very different things. And I want to talk about what that bridge actually looks like. Not in theory, but in real life. So let's get into it. I'm Suzanne Arjona, and this is Life on Your Terms, where human design meets bold truth and permission to be real. You've played the role, you did what was expected, and now it's time to show up as you. I want to start with what moving doesn't look like, because I think there's a story a lot of us are carrying about what it looks like to finally follow your instinct. It may look like a dramatic moment of clarity, a clean break, a bold leap that you execute with confidence and never look back from. And sometimes it is that. But honestly, in my experience, and in the experience of most of the women I've worked with, it's a lot more subtle and often messier than that. It looks like saying yes to a conversation you would have avoided 6 months ago. It looks like letting yourself want something out loud for the first time. It looks like not talking yourself out of the next small step, even when you can't see the one after it. Moving forward doesn't require certainty. It just requires enough trust to take the next right action. That's it. And if you've been waiting to feel ready, I want to tell you that ready is probably not coming before you take the first step. It tends to show up somewhere during that first step. And while we're reframing things, I want to share one more reframe that I think changes everything about how you relate to this shift. The story a lot of women carry about the midlife shift is that it's an ending, a giving up. And there can be some disappointment in that, even shame, like you should have known sooner or chosen differently when there was still time. But what I actually see when women move through this is that it's not an ending. It's an arriving. Everything you've built, everything you've tried, everything you learned about yourself through what did and didn't work all your life, that was the process of elimination that was always pointing you here, toward the life that fits who you actually are now, not the life you designed for the woman you were at age 32. And that's not a crisis. That's leveling up. It's arriving at your new place in life. So I was lucky enough to enter my midlife phase already living a life of my choosing, for the most part. Much of this was due to the struggles that I went through in my 30s, which led to writing my first book, which is all about creating a life you love. So that set me on this path early. However, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Just because you know that you can live in a certain way doesn't mean it always turns out that way. There will still be trials and challenges, but knowing you have options is a huge benefit in moving through them. So let's get practical, because the reframe is really important, and the doing is what actually gets you somewhere. Following the instinct toward a midlife pivot doesn't usually look like burning everything down on a random Tuesday. It tends to look like a series of smaller, braver choices that compound over time. It looks like being honest with yourself about what's not working and stop pretending it's the only way to continue. It looks like letting yourself imagine an alternative, even just for 5 minutes, without immediately shutting it down as unattainable. It looks like noticing where your energy comes alive and following that thread even when you don't have a complete picture yet. And it looks like being willing to disappoint some people, not carelessly and not without compassion, but with the understanding that you have spent a very long time making sure everyone else was okay, and that chapter is about to end. That's not selfish. That's what life on your terms actually requires. Here's something I want to say clearly before we close out this series. Nobody is going to give you permission for this. Not your partner, not your kids, not the version of yourself that has it all figured out. Not a human design reading, not a podcast, not even me. The permission structure that got you this far, that external validation, the consensus, the waiting until everyone else is comfortable, that's the old operating system. And it worked in its way. But it's not what's being called for now. What's being called for now is a different kind of trust. Trust in the knowing that has been with you longer than any of the noise. Trust in the body that has been signaling this even when your mind was busy arguing. Trust that the life that fits you, really fits you, not the shape you bent yourself into, is worth the discomfort of stepping toward it. You don't need more data. You don't need more time. You need to decide that what you know is enough to take the next step. Now is the time to take a minute and sit with this. If journaling is your thing, then journal. If taking a walk to feel how it lands works for you, then put this down and go take a walk. How you do it doesn't matter as much as simply doing it. Ask yourself, what is my next step? Where do I want to go next in my life? Feel the answer in your body. Don't overthink it. Just go with your initial feeling. So what's next? I'd love to know what landed for you in this series. Come find me and tell me which episode hit hardest, or what the thing was that finally clicked. You can email me or private message me on Instagram, Substack, or YouTube. I read every message and I will respond. And if you're in the middle of this shift right now, if you're somewhere between the knowing and the moving, and it feels a little like standing on the edge of something, I want you to know there's more support available than a podcast series. I created something called Life on Their Terms Almost Broke Me, specifically for women like you in this season. The link is in the show notes, and I'd love to see you there. It's a short, free mini podcast series designed just for you. But for right now, in this moment, I just want to say this. The knowing that wouldn't quit, it wasn't wrong. It was just waiting for you to trust it enough to find out what it knew. That's life on your terms. Go live it. And I'll see you next time.